Isang napakagandang umaga po sa inyong lahat mga teammates. Ito ang Hardball with Bill Velasco. Ang oras po natin 11:02. Ngayon po ay Martes. Unang araw ng Abril 2025.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Mamaya makakasama din natin ang Seattle Supersonics superfan na si Glenn Antonio. Totoo bang babalik na ang Seattle sa NBA?
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
At ngayon, nasa linya natin ang isang pinakamatinding Seattle Supersonics superfan dito sa Pilipinas at matagal na nating kaibigan si Glenn Antonio. Good morning, Glenn. Kumusta ka na?
Good morning, good morning. Hello, Bill. Hello to the listeners of DWAN 1206, sa mga listeners and viewers ng Hardball. I think very few people know and understand my Seattle Supersonics fandom more than you.
Okay. Ngayon, mukhang nakakabuelo na, no? Bumibilis na yung kilusan na makabalik ang Seattle Supersonics sa NBA. Ano na ba ang status nito?
Okay, Bill. So currently, madami ang excited, no, for the return of the Seattle Supersonics. Pero madami kasing pieces behind the scenes where it will affect the inclusion of a new NBA franchise. So more than anything, ang malaking update is actually the sale of another green team, which is the Boston Celtics. Oh. Yes, so according to a recent article by the Seattle Times, no, the Celtics was sold for 6.1 billion recently, not just this March, which is pretty much the most expensive sale of a franchise in North American pro sports history. So doon natin makikita na 6.1 billion of a recently crowned NBA Finals franchise. So magkano ba ang isang prangkisa sa NBA? No, so walang set na value because different teams obviously have different values, no? Like there are really big market teams like the Lakers, the Miami Heat, you know, the New York Knicks. But at the same time, magkano ba entry level na franchise? A lot of NBA experts and rumors abound na around 5 billion for a new NBA team. So kung meron po kayo dyang 5 billion US dollars, you can probably start saving it for a possible franchise bid. Another thing is, sino ba yung mga posibleng magbid for the franchise? No, so yung ownership kasi ng Boston Celtics, yung isang owner doon is also the owner of the Seattle Kraken ng NHL. So by selling his stake, no, so David Bonderman is the name of the owner of the Seattle Kraken. Binitawan niya yung kanyang stake for the Celtics. It now gives him and his group the freedom to bid for an NBA franchise. Hindi ka kasi pwedeng meron kang isang team tapos owner ka din ng another team.
Conflict of interest, no?
Oo, medyo conflict of interest regardless if it's two separate tawag dito conferences. So the big thing about it is that, well, una unfortunately, David Bonderman passed away a few months ago. Last December. So namatay yung owner ng Seattle Kraken. You know, they had a tribute to him. They had Bondo on their jersey. That's his nickname, David Bonderman. Pero yung anak niya, si Samantha Holloway, is actually the executive chair, if I'm not mistaken, of the Kraken. And syempre, siya yung tagapagmana, no, ng ownership from her father. So if in case that the NBA would have the opportunity to start talking about expansion, they would definitely make a bid for it. Little trivia for the listeners and the viewers out there. The Seattle Climate Pledge Arena, which is home to the Kraken whenever they have a hockey game, and also where the WNBA's Seattle Storm play, no? So sila Skylar Diggins-Smith, yan yung mga players nila. Mika Mule. there's actually an NBA ready locker room. May nakaabang na doon sa mismong sa mismong building. So in fact, that is the huge preparation in time for a possible NBA expansion. But ito yung matinding balita. A couple of days ago, actually just last week, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver was asked, so ano na bong estado, di ba? Kasi a lot of people are starting to talk. Meron na bang discussions? So currently, the NBA has 30 teams, 30. When he was asked about it, medyo non-committal pa din si Commissioner Adam Silver. No, they had a recent Board of Governors meeting last week. He said no new developments. I say na I hear you. I see the Seattle fans. I hear chatter everywhere, but I cannot announce anything public. No, but it's not na we're not studying it very intensively. It's not that we take those fans for granted. So thankful kami, blah blah blah. Pero again, a lot of things are being discussed kasi media rights, no? So hati-hati yan sa piece of the pie across all the teams. So kung 30 na kayo maghahati, magdadagdag pa kayo ng dalawa, that's going to be 32 majority group owners, ownership groups na maghahati-hati on how much the NBA is earning annually. So those are things that they have looked on, and at least pinag-uusapan siya. A lot of things have been happening ng March. Literally lahat yan nangyari ng March, yung parang March Madness. Sumabay sa March Madness. Nabenta yung Celtics March, nagsalita si Commissioner Adam Silver March. So a lot of things happened last March. There are two cities that are being seen as possible expansion. Like we've talked about it before, yung Las Vegas at Seattle. So
mas makakatulong ba sa bid ng Seattle kung dalawa silang papasok sa NBA?
Actually, it would help, no? Pero there have been times where hindi even number ang pumasok eh. Like there was a time na sa the NHL they had an odd number of teams na pumasok. Hindi sabay, hindi dalawa.
In Dallas, nung pumasok sila lang eh. 'Di ba?
Butal, 'di ba? So pwedeng 31 or 31st team and then the 32nd team. So hindi siya sabay. No, it's not going to be, sabay kaagad na 32. So it's up really for the discussion. Ang next major discussion is happening this July.
Okay.
The NBA owners will be meeting during the Las Vegas NBA Summer League Showcase.
Okay, sa tingin mo ba may mga team owners na kokontra? Kasi una, yung pera pinag-uusapan, yung broadcast rights, obviously merchandise, ticket sales, yung schedule nila, syempre magugulo na naman yung algorithm ng NBA niya. At napag-usapan natin dati, there might be a realignment. No? May mga teams na mukhang malilipat from east to west or vice versa. No? So, sa tingin mo, may mga kokontra ba sa pagpasok ng Seattle or pati na rin yung Las Vegas?
I think for Las Vegas, kasi Las Vegas it's showtime any time of the year. Like, diba? Like, if you have 41, 42 NBA home games in Las Vegas, that is 41 possibly sold out home games. No? So, revenue-wise, sexy tingnan ang Las Vegas. Let's use the term because hindi ka mawawalan ng viewers because people visit Las Vegas any time of the year to gamble, to take a vacation. Meron bang haharang? I think when he was alive, David Bonderman was very respected, I think, by the NBA ownership group. Kasi nga, naging majority owner siya under Wes Grousbeck ng Celtics. Parang siya na yung nakikitang, pag nagkaroon ng prangkisa, I think he's ready. This is a guy that I think people respect. But unfortunately nga, he passed away in December. So, there should be a galvanizing figure or a group of, investors where people can say, okay, it's led by that person. They would take the team to a competitive level. Hindi kasi pwedeng pumasok ka lang sa sa NBA tapos papabugbog ka lang ng 5 taon.
Oo.
Like you should be ready to have a competitive team, 'di ba? So by the way, the ownership group of the Seattle Kraken also includes Jerry Bruckheimer
Oh.
of Hollywood. So hindi biro yung perang ini-invest nila doon, and like if they successfully
May
bid for
pera,
an NBA team in the
kaya
expansion
talaga,
draft,
no?
kaya,
Talaga.
yeah.
Oo.
Kaya. They
Okay.
have the money.
Oh, na ngayon naman pag-uusapan natin, 'di ba, syempre, anong possible advantages, no, pag pumasok ang isang Seattle team, not necessarily the Supersonics. Supersonics yan kasi doon ang headquarters ng Boeing, the Museum of Flight, no, and ang mga advantages diyan na walang gustong pumunta ng Seattle kasi maulan, malamig, 'di ba? Sa katunayan, konti lang ang Pinoy na makikita mo doon dahil nga gano'n, no? Malungkot, mas talo pa niya yung Portland, no? Sa tingin mo ba makakaakit sila ng malakas na team kung sakaling makapasok sila sa NBA ulit?
Well, Seattle is a huge port city. You know, they have the Mariners, they have the Seahawks, they have the Storm, which have been fairly successful over the past how many years. You know, retire lang din ni Sue Bird. Shoutouts to one of my favorite hoopers of all time, male or female.
Yung iniyakan mo.
Iniyakan ko yan. Para lang ma-meet. Which is another story for another day. You know, they have a huge, they have the Sounders, they have the Kraken. So as far as being a home team muna pinag-usapan natin. The fans are there. Madami silang fans. Like,
hindi siya malulugi. Hindi malulugi.
Kasi like you also have to look at it from a revenue standpoint.
Tama.
Like kikita ba tayo sa home ticket sales, no? Now in terms of attracting big names, no? Like in terms of like NBA talent, now would you like to play 41 games of a year in this city?
In this gloomy place, no?
Medyo half raining, half sunny, diba? So parang piniti na siya with 4 seasons.
Yung harap niya kasi dagat, yung likod niya bundok, kaya yung hangin umiikot lang, malamig talaga ron.
Umiikot lang, no? Seattle is also known to produce really good hoopers.
That's true.
Zach LaVine is from Washington, like former the first original German legend,
Detlef
Schrempf was his University of Washington Huskies. No, he returned to Seattle and played for the Sonics. So NBA talent ni Nate Robinson, Jamal Crawford. No, ang daming DeJounte Murray.
So may legacy.
It's from Seattle. So meron kang hoopers na, it's a really huge basketball town. So generally fairly good weather. You play 41 games, at home, but the legacy of the team, the history of the team is something that future hoopers might want to be a part of.
Okay.
People sometimes forget na during the 72-10 season of MJ, in the 96 finals, Seattle actually won 64 games, 64 or 62. It's a malakas din sila, it's a really strong team. So they're not pushovers, no. 3 Western Conference titles across its history, 6 Pacific Division titles. And they won an NBA championship in 79. There are 10 current NBA teams na hindi pa nananalo ng kampyonato ever. Bullets, Grizzlies, Clippers, Timberwolves, wala pang mga NBA title yan. So the legacy of the Supersonics is really, really, strong and respected.
Okay. What about the other aspects like magiging issue ba yung scheduling dyan? May mga teams ba na ililipat ng conference dahil hindi na siya balanse, and will Seattle itself be considered in which division, di ba? Paano nangyayari dyan sa tingin mo?
Location-wise, I think Seattle would, if in case again na matanggap sila, it's going to stay in the Pacific Division. There are a couple of teams that might be moved, like let's say Memphis or Minnesota. By the way, ang Minnesota Timberwolves is also supposedly up for sale. Na meron din siyang, like, if it gets sold, does it get relocated? Di ba? Before, meron ding discussion about the Sacramento Kings, di ba? Na it could have been sold to an Eastern Conference or whatever. It could have been moved.
And the MVP actually inquired about the Sacramento Kings
Yes.
more than 10 years
Actually,
ago.
you have news about it. I think you wrote something about it. You broke something news na MVP like wanted to be a minority owner. Tama ba?
Yeah, that was like what 12, 15 years ago. 'Di ba? So so given this, no, syempre pag pinag-usapan natin yung the readiness of the city, syempre yung history, maraming walang history ng NBA involvement. Pangalawa, may ready na silang venue, no, na hindi na magtatayo ng venue, hindi nagagamit ng lumang venue. Pangatlo, yung fans sabik na, sanay na. Gaano kalaking factor ito when you think about let's say may ibang city na gustong pumasok. Anong magiging status nila sa isa't isa? Kung halimbawa, of course, Las Vegas pwedeng kapares ng Seattle or mauna sa Seattle, no? But how would Seattle stack up against the other inquiries na magkaroon ng NBA team?
I think at this point, the possibility of like yung mga ganyan, no, mga discussions about it, still stems on the idea na like, will the NBA actually entertain other cities as well? Which they are. There have been talks where the NBA is also looking at Europe, to
Mexico.
Diba?
Mexico pa.
Diba? Yeah, may Mexico pa. And then, because, basketball is a global game. Everywhere you go, like your top players in the NBA right now are actually foreigners.
Yeah.
I mean, non-Americans, right? You have, Giannis and Jokic and Luka, and you have a lot of like global talent. And so expanding within North America, like would they even consider another Canadian team? Right? Would they consider going south of the border? Nabanggit mo yung Mexico. Would they even consider something within South America?
Puerto Rico.
Other teams. Diba? Because like you have powerhouse teams, right? Puerto Rico, no, the powerhouse basketball countries.
At saka Puerto
that might
Rico is
consider going up further.
And Puerto Rico is considered a US territory. Pag pinanganak ka sa Puerto Rico, US ang passport mo. Diba? So
yeah, like US provides foreign aid to them. Parang foreign aid pero local aid pag may mga calamities, diba? For Puerto Rico.
Sa tingin mo kasi napansin natin na medyo naging hirap din ang NBA ngayon, no? In terms of credibility, in terms of audience. Malaking tulong yung paglipat ni Luka Doncic sa Lakers. Pero, is it the right time na magdagdag ng team considering nga medyo naghihirap ang NBA ngayon in terms of attracting a bigger market?
I think it's also where media is consumed.
Okay.
Kasi like revenue-wise, you can only earn so much. Like home games, tickets, merch. Like where do you earn media rights? Like you access from, let's say, NBA League Pass. Syempre, hindi lahat sa US would even watch the games of certain,
Yeah.
So, hindi ganun kadali. But as far as like, is it the right time? Ako bias ako, I would say it's the right time kasi I've been waiting for the past 15 years, almost 20 years na.
So ikaw, every day is the right time.
Every day is the right time, Las Vegas is also viable, kasi sa WNBA, as far as basketball is concerned, they have the Aces. They have a really strong, like they have Aja Wilson, they recently traded Kelsey Plum, but it would also help to sort of add 30 other players. Kasi diba, like if you look at it, each team has like 15 active players.
Yeah.
So that's like 2 more teams. You can accommodate 30 more talent from the G League. Or internationally, there are still EuroLeague MVPs, diba? Kagaya ni Luka, he's a EuroLeague MVP, transferred to the NBA, diba? So you have a lot of global talent that you could still accommodate. Diba? Yeah. So that's 30 other people, available roster spots, and of course coaches and there are a lot of mouths to feed, pero it's also helpful personally for the parity in the NBA. At least medyo pare down yung talent. Hindi na siya masyado doon sa ibang teams kasi if Seattle says, "Oy, willing kami magbayad ng big money for a big name talent." Diba? Some of the balik Seattle na lang daw si Kevin Durant bago mag-retire. Because KD can still play, diba? KD is like still putting up numbers. So if they're throwing money to the next big talent, it's still good for the I think it's still good for the league.
Sa tingin mo ba, kung nagmamadali silang palakihin yung audience nila, whether it's Seattle or Las Vegas, good idea ba na kumuha ng mga Asian players? Like, when the Rockets had Yao Ming, grabe ang audience nila kahit regular season games. No? They could get a Chinese or a Filipino player kahit babangko yan. Basta maglaro ng ilang minuto lang, papanoorin ng tao yan, di ba?
Well, in fact, there have been a lot of pretty good Asian players in the G League.
Yeah.
You have the guy from Memphis. I think Yuki. Let me check that. But there's also another Chinese player for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes.
No? So si Jackie. So ang daming Asian players. So that can Yuki Kawamura.
Yes, of course.
From the Grizzlies. Member of the Akatsuki 5 of Japan, the Japanese national team. These are names that, given the opportunity, they can make a name for themselves. Maybe not a starter, maybe a starter. Like you wouldn't, second guess their talent. Imagine a Japanese-led team in Seattle. Happened once before.
Yes.
Hindi lang NBA, You have the MLB. Ichiro Suzuki of the Seattle Mariners. So imagine mo, like, if you could get the Japanese basketball market to root for, let's say, Yuki Kawamura, wag lang siyang hindi bitawan ng Memphis Grizzlies. Like, imagine that, like, from a regional standpoint. That is how many million eyeballs, 100 million Japanese eyeballs watching the NBA. That's a captured market.
At saka kung may madiscover ka na bagong Chinese player na Yao Ming ang dating, di ba? Or at least a Chinese player who dunks a lot during games, di ba? Medyo, kakaiba to. At saka papanoorin talaga ng mga Chinese fans yan.
Or snipers. It's like, it doesn't even have to be, just pure athletic skill. We have a lot of
Shooters,
NBA shooters right now that, like, imagine, Japanese or Korean, because we've always been, parang, natin yan di ba? Asian, natin yan talaga na, if it's a South Korean shooter, kabado tayo dyan, medyo tagilid tayo ng konti. Imagine, let's say, a South Korean sniper na ala Kyle Korver. Not so athletic, but, reliable on the three-point and it's gonna be something fun to watch. Kasi nga, the NBA is half athleticism, half three-point shooting right now.
Sa tingin mo ba, Glenn, ano bang nangyayari sa NBA? Bakit medyo laylay ang NBA ngayon at, nahihirapan siyang makaakit ng fans? The All-Star Weekend is always an experiment pa iba-iba. Ano sa tingin mo ang mga pwede pang gawin ng NBA para makabalik yung parang glory days nila nung 80s tsaka 90s?
Very good question. I never thought you'd ask. There are actually two things that I've been, thinking. Minsan napag-uusapan natin yun pag nakikita tayo. No? But now it's out in D1's Hardball with Bill. Number one, it has to be, certain teams have to have an identity.
Okay.
Like you have, the San Antonio's Big Three, Seattle's original Love City, the triangle offense of the Bulls, the
hindi lang yung lahat
grind.
Hindi lang lahat tira na tira sa labas.
Exactly. Like if you look at NBA teams today, their offenses are somewhat similar to each other. There's not so much as an identity na pag sinabi mong Detroit Pistons, bubugbugin ka talaga muna bago ka maka-layup.
O Run TMC.
Right? If we're talking about then you have Run TMC, OG, Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, Chris Mullin during the 90s. You have the Miami Heat no, nila Alonzo Mourning, Thunder Dan Maherlin. So may mga identity. You have the pick and roll with Utah Jazz.
Oo.
No, like pag sinabi mong certain teams, oh my God, may identity sila. 'Di ba? Parang ano ba yung certain pag sinabi mong Dirk, pag sinabi mong Kobe, 'di ba? Like you have certain eras where there's a certain identity. So I hope no na may mga hashtag yan online 'di ba? Yung mga kunyari Sacramento Kings, light the beam. Pero okay, what's light the beam is just when you win. Pero like, where does the offense come from? You know, let's say Sabonis, nawala si De'Aaron Fox. Now you have two Lithuanian. Shoutouts lang natin yung mga Lithuanians. You now have two Lithuanian national team members playing side by side. You have Jonas Valanciunas and Domantas Sabonis. And then the second thing is, I think the competitiveness of the All-Star game. They keep on harping on like, okay, let's change the format, let's try something.
Yung attitude
It's not so much as the format. I think coming from, let's say, the 90s and the 2000s, people wanted to one-up each other. Alam mo, hindi tayo chami-chami. We're not.
Walang layup, no? Walang layup.
Oo, pero like, you know, you watch the 2000s All-Star game, you know, 2005, 2010s, alam mo that when you have the Western Conference, the Eastern Conference, they want to represent the conference. Competitive sila sa All-Star game. Pumafoul si Shaq. Like to see Shaq shoot a free throw because teams wanted to hold him down in an All-Star game means it's a competitive All-Star game kasi ayaw mo sumalpak si Shaq diba? Like you want him to shoot a free throw. Diba? Like LeBron going at it against Kobe. Alam mo yun?
Wala na yun
Kobe going at it. Wala na like Kobe going at it against Jordan's final All-Star game. Diba? Jordan's final All-Star game sa Washington Wizards, muntikan pa siyang sapawan ni Kobe. Or in fact, diba, because of the ano, so like these are things na I think it's a bit lost, no? And a lot of NBA fans nowadays is like, yeah, you know, high five, tropa tayo. We used to play together. We used to play in AAU. You know, we were college teammates. So like I think the era of social media and it's sort of diluted something because you see a lot of these guys projecting their own personal brand. Like, oh, you know, I'm approachable, you know, I don't know. You know, I'm not an NBA player, so
wala nang bagsik, wala nang bagsik. No?
Walang pangil. You know, like, let's use that expression, walang pangil. So like during the All-Star game, it should be like, okay, let's go at it. You know, like I'm representing the Western Conference or I'm representing, kasi ngayon may team captains na napili-pili, di ba? Like let's say Team LeBron and Team Giannis, and then they do it the schoolyard style na, pili ka, pili ako, pili ka, pili ako. So bubuo ka ng team mo and then there's that last guy to be picked. Di ba? And so iba yung format, you know, just do it na Western versus Eastern. But, you know, I think penalize people for not playing hard.
Ay, tsaka yung load management. Ayaw na ayaw ng mga fans yan. Isipin mo, mahal-mahal ng ticket.
Ikaw, ayaw mo yan.
Mahal-mahal ng ticket. Kung saan ka pa pupunta, parking, mahal ng pagkain, mahal ng soft drinks. Tapos, hindi maglalaro yung paboritong player mo kasi load management. Anong kalokohan yan, di ba? Trabaho mo yan trabaho mo maglaro di ba? Nakakawalang gana
yung like let's say si Kawhi before, no, sorry, like if there are Kawhi Leonard fans watching the show, unfortunately mga ganyan, no, like even MB, you know, like there was a time Ben Simmons, so okay, like they deal something personal probably, again, you know, it could be mental, physical, you know, psychological, but more so the load management, masyado kasi siyang obvious sa fans Alam mo yun, masyado siyang and it hurts the fans, not just from the home ticket perspective na parang hindi na naman maglalaro si ganito, di na ako manonood ng live. It also hurts them from a online or streaming game perspective. You know, like, fans wouldn't watch because sino maglalaro? You know, it's always that. Sino maglalaro dyan? Ito. So, para lang silang, mukha lang silang G-League team going up against, you know, a stacked team. So, the load management has to be something that the board of governors, the owners, and even, especially the commissioner and the tournament directors, the league directors would would explore. Isa pa, referees.
Ngik.
Kahit saan naman.
Sa katutak na traveling.
That's it. So like let's be consistent with calls. It's flopping, foul baiting. Sorry foul baiting, wala ko i-mention. A lot of people are actually rooting for SGA to be the season's MVP. People keep on overlooking that Jokic's numbers
Naman.
this season is
Top
actually
3.
better than his MVP season numbers. Nung nag-MVP si Jokic, mas maganda pa yung numbers niya this year.
Top
Right?
3
And
siya nga,
he-
shooting, rebounding, assists,
Diba?
steals.
Kasi
Kanya na lahat
as a center.
Oo.
As a center.
Oo.
Right? And so, okay, medyo, I might be showing my, adversity, my adverse bias against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But SGA is a superstar.
Mhm.
But numbers-wise, you don't get my vote if you're a free throw merchant.
Ayaw nila kasi
Sabi
kay
nila,
ayaw nila kasi foreigner si Jokic, ang dami ng MVP di ba? That's why he didn't win 3 in a row, di ba?
Right. SGA is still Canadian, pero yung free throw merchant, yung magpapasabit, ipitin niya, and then he's gonna twist it. Parang Harden lang din.
Oo
You know,
nga.
like you're gaming the system ba? Like you're gaming the system. Like even yung step back ni Harden before, di ba?
Yeah.
That's like 2-3 steps traveling.
Oo.
And then they keep calling it legal or something. So for people to sort of enjoy the game, you're also giving the wrong impression to younger generation.
Tama.
So like we
Pwede pala
we
no?
would say na parang like kids would say, okay lang magpasabit ng ganon. Flailing your arms around, try to get hit. Pag ginawa mo yan sa inter-barangay o sa intrams, hindi yan tatawagan.
Iyakin
And
ka
then
pa.
that's tapos magmumukha ka rin iyakin, di ba? Na parang, ano pa yan? Konting kibot, di ba? Like the era where the visibility of the NBA is at an all-time high. And wala kang excuse where to consume NBA content. 'Di ba? You have social media. Yung mga highlights lang pwede mong mapanood on Instagram, YouTube, Like you expose that type of play to a younger generation, they think it's okay. Like they think it's okay to flop, they think it's okay to foul bait. Obviously it's okay to foul bait, pero if 1/3 of your points come from free throws, and some of them are non-existent calls, 'di ba? Na parang shadow foul, 'di ba? Or something. Hindi siya magandang example, and thereby it sort of alienates fans from saying, ay parang dinadaya nila yung laro. Like they're gaming the system.
Okay.
Laro na nga, nilalaro pa.
Okay.
'Di ba? So that's a big negative. Sana ma-address.
Okay. Maraming salamat, Glenn. Lagi tayong kinakapos sa oras pag nagkikwentuhan tayo ng basketball. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Pwede bang makihirit lang ng quick shoutout?
Sige lang.
Merong nagpabanggit, my former smart teammate, si Daddy Mike Orbeta. He's
Okay.
watching, is tuning in. And then there are also people from the Seattle Supersonics PH Facebook group. Sila Erwil Gan, Floyd Alcantara, si MJ Lapus yan. Mga diehard Seattle fans yan. Mga Kemp fans yan. May mga merch yan.
Dalhin
So, they're
natin
also
dito sa
supporting
show.
the show.
Dalhin natin dito. Wala nang problema yun. Diba? Basta makatulong.
Mabitbit natin. And then, syempre, Chris Villapando for supporting. And then, my wife, Christine Antonio.
Laging nakabantay.
Andun, nasa living room. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Maraming salamat, D1 1206. And syempre, Bro Bill Velasco, I will always support Hardball. I'm going to purchase a t-shirt. Putting it on air.
Alright.
Available yung apparel to support. Walang freebie. Supportahan ninyo yung Hardball merchandise.
Okay, maraming salamat si Glenn Flash Antonio, ang super fan ng Seattle Supersonics. Magpapatuloy ang ating programa.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Ang ating programa para sa araw na ito. Ang ating programang Hardball ay mapapakinggan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes alas 11 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali. Dito lang yan sa DWAN 1206 AM, the future of AM radio, ang radyo ng bagong Pilipinas. Kita-kita tayo bukas.